I love that Jordana said a couple of things. Where does this end is so funny. As if like they'd be over Thanksgiving and she'd be like, come on, come to mama. And then she'd start rubbing her tit while making out with her.
Right. She's not fingering you.
Hey, y'all.
Where'd you come from?
That's Trisha Ann.
What is happening?
You didn't see my story? I did a whole thing.
Sometimes I skip your stories because I get jealous when you hang out with other people.
I was alone. I was alone in my truck. I was in the F-150 down the beach. Trisha Ann.
If you were at the beach, I get jealous when you hang out with other people.
It's the beach. You didn't watch any of it? She's a character.
Why is this so funny?
Trish?
It's because you were on vacation. I don't like to look at your Instagram stories. I might see you with somebody else. You know how I feel about this.
All right, y'all. Let's get into these partners.
Welcome back to another episode of Girls Gotta Eat.
Hey, y'all. It's Ashley and Rayna. Actually, it's not. It's Trisha Ann. Trish
now
for short.
I need a name.
My friends call me Trish. You have to do a Pittsburgh.
Jane.
Someone said, "Can you please do a whole episode in that voice?"
And I said, voice?
"No, for me to do it in Trish's voice." And I said, "Yeah, if Rayna does a whole Pittsburgh for Yins."
I actually like my stepmother's Dallas voice more than
it's better. Yeah,
I hit it.
It's hard. Pittsburgh is tough. Like Delaware is tough.
Pittsburgh's tough to stick with long term. Dallas, I could do all day. She's like, Rayna, your daddy loves me so much. I mean, most of the time he does. The other times,
let's do it. Trish is ready. What are we doing? We have to.
Guys, the weather is nice. It's going to rain in about an hour. I actually got Ashley to start recording exactly when I wanted to. We did it, guys.
Guys, it's live show week.
I can't believe it.
Not our first, but probably going to be the best. I don't want to give anything away, but we have some really fun stuff planned.
I'm really excited. Ashley, I let her plan the show because I let her plan all the live shows when we were on tour. So
that's what I do.
Ashley plans it and I come and it's great.
I literally sit Rayna down. I go, hear me out. And I say all these things and she goes, yes, just fuck it. Just do it.
You're good at it. Okay, listen, you're just good at it. I like when you do it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great. Tickets are still available up until the moment that we go live.
Yeah. No sense of urgency, but what are we going to do? Where are you going to go?
You guys have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Break out the alcohol, your girlfriends, get the tickets.
Yes, get the tickets at girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. Again, this Wednesday, September 2nd, 9 p.m. Eastern time. So 6 p.m. for our West Coast and whatever else for the... all the other time. You know your time zone.
Yeah, you know where you live.
And
Australia, London.
I wanted to say also get your charcuterie.
You did it.
And we have the board lord, the king of all charcuterie boards on the episode today.
My Lord and Savior, Jared Freid.
With his co-host, Jordana Abraham of the U Up podcast. But I wanted to tie in charcuterie while I could.
That was a great segue.
Thank you so much.
I love Jared so much. Yeah. We awkwardly brought it up on his show.
On his, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to be on their show as well. So we did like a fun little swap and you guys sent us awesome emails. We picked really great topics and Jared and Jordana helped us break down all the topics for you guys.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. That is what we're doing today. A cornucopia of topics.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's mouth kissing and where do we stand? Yes, blowjob. There's a lot.
There's like a PSA about blowjob videos. Jared got really serious.
Yeah, Jared really, he took a feminist angle on that.
So what was the last time you saw Jared?
Okay. All right. So, you know what? This was on their episode too. We should be on there this Sunday, I think, like week from yesterday.
Yeah.
They do Sunday episodes now. And in the episode with him, I referenced March 12th, which is a date that will stick in my mind forever because I feel like it was the last semi-normal, like we knew COVID was here, but I had my show at The Stand that I co-hosted with Francis. It was kind of our last hurrah. It felt like it felt weird. It felt ominous, and it was just, but it was like we were all together, and it really was like the last big night. But Jared was on that show. I forgot to bring this up on his episode, so I'm bringing it up now. And thanks for leading me into it, because it was embarrassing. He was on the show, and when he came in, again, March 12th, we still were like, what are we doing? Is COVID, is it a thing? Can we not touch? Can we? And I went to hug him, and he like pretty much blocked me. He was like, whoa, like he did like almost like a bob and weave, and like
He matrixed out of it.
he matrixed out of it and like gave me an elbow.
He emojied you out of it. I feel like there is no one for whom COVID is better than you and Jared, like non-huggers.
Right, because
But like, he would do that before.
but I didn't want, I never want to hug anybody. I just never know how to greet them, and I always get a little awkward with those in the middle friends.
I know, this is great for you.
Yeah.
I hate it. I would die for a hug. So we wanted to do something today. We have gotten a lot of new listeners over the last few weeks from the Jamila episode, the Michaela episode, and Dr. Mira's episode. So a lot of you are new here. So we want to welcome you.
Stop it.
We want to welcome all of our new listeners and introduce ourselves.
No, Rayna said she wanted to do this, and I was like, "No, bitch!" Like one of those girls on Instagram, they get like a surge of new followers, and they go, "A lot of you are new here. I'd like to reintroduce myself." Listen, if you do that, no shade. I think it's very funny because you see it a lot.
So we want to introduce ourselves. I'm Rayna.
Oh, I'm Trish. Trisha Ann. My friends call me Trish. I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina.
I have a new co-host.
No, we said that we joke that we never say who we are. So if you're new here, you're like, which one's which? I'm Ashley. I'm the tall one.
I'm Rayna. I'm the one that you all say is stupid on the internet. I have the big boobs.
I'm the bitch. I love air conditioning and outdoor showers. I hate bugs.
I don't know. We're doing all this. I know we're doing bios. I'm from Pittsburgh.
I'm from Delaware.
I went to school in Indiana.
I went to Clemson.
And we're just really happy you guys are here.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for being here. Also, a little bit about me. I don't exercise, but I have started.
Yes.
By started, I mean twice. I've done it.
Rayna texted me that she had just ridden 12 miles on her stationary bike, and I called her because I feel like it was such a milestone. It's like when somebody telling you they got engaged, you like want to call them, or that they're pregnant, you know?
Yeah, except for when somebody's pregnant, I'm like, are you sure about this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually told Ashley like 12 things. The end of it, I ended it with, I had just gotten off my bike and you called me. You know, I like talking on the phone.
Nobody likes talking on the phone more than you. It is my nightmare, and you can't get enough of it. I will text you and you won't respond for hours. And I'll just keep texting, obviously, you know.
Yeah.
I don't stop.
Yeah, I'm there.
There's pages and screens and screens.
I'm getting
and
them.
you're just on the phone.
I like talking on the phone.
You drink and talk on the phone as exclusively as like your main social activity.
I like it. So lately I've been going out, like when I stay at home, I'm like, why am I here? It's summer. Like I'm so bored. So I'll just like fire up some wine and fire up a phone call.
But you really have like close relationships with like your aunt and uncle, for example. Like I don't talk to my aunt and uncle on the phone and get drunk for 2 hours like you do.
Me. I
love them. I love that about you. Like you really value phone conversations.
See, I don't think of myself as a phone call person. Like I don't want people that I can see on a normal basis to call me.
Okay.
Like I don't want phone calls from anybody that I can take a cab to.
Okay, I got it.
I exclusively reserve I talk to my mom once a month. For like a marathon. I talk to my dad like every day.
You talk to your dad all the time.
Arlen, Zoom call a lot. Talked to this guy last night for 2 hours and 12 minutes. It was a lot.
Which guy, Rayna? Maybe you want to call back from the Aura episode. Because everybody hates him based on what they heard. Because all they heard was he's going to break us up.
That is not what they heard. Do you think that's what they heard?
Why would they not? That's what she said.
It's not what she said, that we're soulmates. That's all I heard.
She said, Ashley, he will try to take you down.
Yeah.
All right. Not those exact words, but she said he will come for you.
She alluded to it.
She said he'll come for you.
I feel like you're a pretty decent match for him. I mean, you don't lay the dick down as good, but you know.
I do. I have a big dick though.
I think you can put your dick on the table against him a little bit. So yeah, I was on the phone with him. Yeah, you were like, we need to talk about this on the show. How much you talk on the phone. I talk on the phone a lot.
Yeah.
That's my social life. And Dylan. I talk to Dylan a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
We have to bring him up on every episode.
Yeah. So you have a story to tell.
It's not like that interesting. I just wanted to like share it with you and get your thoughts. So I spent last week, you went out of town, so I had to go out of town.
Yeah.
You had plans with other people, so I had to make them as well. So I went up to the lake house that I go to sometimes where my girlfriend and her sister live. So I went up there, and on my way back from Deposit, New York, which is sort of up by the Catskills, we had dinner and we had this sauce at dinner. It was like in a jarred sauce, an Indian jarred sauce, and they got it at Wegmans. And it's called a simmer sauce, and I've never heard of that before. But it's like, I mean, you see 10,000 brands of tomato sauce on the shelves. There's these Indian sauces. Okay, so it was like
simmer sauce. That sounds like a summer banger.
It was fun.
Get that simmer sauce on your wok. I feel like simmer sauce is a song Migos would have.
You get Migos vibes. Okay.
Because they do have a song about stir fry. Are you here? Feeling me on this?
I'm feeling you. No, I'm feeling you 100%. I feel like it's going to be the hottest song of 2021. It's going to bust it out for the summer of 2021. Okay. We can all bust ourselves out. So I decided I had to get this. It was from Wegmans. So I did a detour on the way back from Deposit, New York to Wegmans in New York. It took me like, I don't know, an extra hour or something.
Are Wegmans like hard to find?
No, they're just not in Manhattan proper. Okay. If you guys know what Wegmans are, it's the greatest grocery store of all time in the world, but it's only, I think, in New Jersey or New York. I'm not sure. I have the internet. Don't DM us. Yeah. So I go to Wegmans and I clean them out of this sauce. I bought 15 jars of it.
What? What flavor profile are we talking?
It's just like a tomato based, sort of like almost like a tikka masala, but very spicy, like curry sauce.
Say no more.
You don't like it?
No, I love everything you just said.
It's incredible. And by the way, like I chop up like ginger and garlic and some extra, like I put some cilantro in it. So it's just like a sauce base and I add some extra stuff to it. It's phenomenal. Anyways, I got in the car and I have 15 glass jars and I realized I don't know how to secure things in a car, like groceries.
You don't
like
I've never secure the bag.
I've never learned this skill before. So like I drove back to New York with all these glass bottles just like clink clacking all over this giant SUV, just like crashing into each other, rolling around the backseat. And I realized like because I live in Manhattan, this is like stunted my abilities because like I've never gotten groceries and put them in a car, really.
Oh, yeah.
It's like walking dogs. Like, I just never learned the skill. Like, how did you learn how to secure groceries in a car?
I don't know, just like critical thinking skills. Just in general.
I don't know. I like couldn't wait to tell you about this because I just kept thinking like, why is this a skill I don't have?
I can see the jars clink clanking and you just turned the music up. Like you're just like, I can't hear that.
I turned the Pipple up because I was like, I mean, we're too far gone. There's nothing I can do about this. And I just realized this is like a skill I don't have.
Did they put them in a box for you? Like how when you buy a bunch of alcohol, they were just in like bags?
They were just in bags in the back of an SUV.
Did you have any beach towels?
Okay, do we secure them with beach towels?
I probably would have just rummaged around
in the car.
Found some like soft materials.
Okay.
And like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like, what do they do with babies?
Car seats.
No, they swaddle them.
What do they do with babies?
I would have swaddled the jars.
Ashley and I are going to be great moms. I can't even secure a glass bottle in a car. Like I could never secure a human in a car. I was just excited to tell you because I just realized like I don't have this skill. Like I'm stunted.
Yeah, well, you exercise now. Maybe you can figure out how to swaddle bottles.
No.
Okay.
No. One thing at a time. Okay. I've exercised twice, so I don't want to flex.
Everybody relax.
Okay.
Don't DM Rayna about any sort of like fitness instructor she needs to follow. I
don't want to do. You know who did DM me yesterday was Fred Smith from our episode in June, and he told me I should take his class.
Okay. Yes. So Fred, who said that he was doing at-home classes, and also Bobby Westside. They both do independent spin classes. I think Bobby's Instagram is Bobby X Westside, but you can always, if you have a bike at home, you can like take their classes, which I love. So you should try that.
I'm going to. And I think Fred and Bobby both are so like great energy, and I'm excited to do it.
Okay, I have an update on somebody
Is it your vagina?
That's not my vagina. It's a person that we do talk about on this podcast that is late to the pandemic by about 5 months, but he has arrived.
Okay, what does that mean?
Lee Hesseltine, my dad, has started baking bread.
No. It's not even April anymore.
When I was a kid.
Can you even do that? Can you even do that in August?
It is August. We are so far out of the bread stage. We had this bread maker when I was a kid. Like they used to bake bread all the time, but then they just put it wherever. And in the garage.
It's in the Netherlands.
He found it. He dusted it off. He's been baking bread up a storm.
Okay, the bread part of the pandemic was like the Tiger King part of the pandemic. Do you know how long ago that
6
was?
months.
That is crazy. What kind of bread?
Like bread you'd eat, like sandwich bread, like
Regular ass
hearty bread.
He puts it in the bread maker.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember like there's only like it says you can make hundreds of kinds of breads, but every bread I ever made tasted the same out of that thing. I can't imagine Lee Hasseltine baking. I want your mom to send me photos.
Yeah, I just see. Yeah, and he's
like
not
a big man.
He's not doing like sweet like banana breads. He's just doing like
Man bread.
man bread.
Mm-hmm.
I tasted it. It's on point. I stopped by their place on the way down. I kept my distance, wore a mask. Swear to God, I was like, "Don't touch me," because I don't want to touch anybody anyway.
I know the pandemic is perfect for you.
And then speaking of the pandemic, I have one show recommendation, and it is Love in the Time of Corona.
Mm-hmm.
So this is on Hulu. It was on Freeform, and Hulu snagged it immediately. I don't know what Freeform is. That's like a channel.
No, Freeform. It's like a channel. Wait, Freeform used to be something. The CW.
Maybe.
I think that's
okay. That's a good call. So Hulu has this. I did a poll on my Instagram story. Barely any of you guys have watched this.
It's on Hulu. Guys, Hulu's only in business because of
I am
Ashley.
single-handedly keeping Hulu alive.
Ashley told me about this show, and then yesterday she mentioned it, and I have no recollection of her telling me. And she was like, "It's because it's on Hulu." You said Hulu, and I blacked out.
I wonder if this was on Netflix, what the viewership would be, because we're not going to. We always go down this road where we compare Hulu and Netflix's interface, and then I cut it every week because it's just not exciting. But anyway, it's really good. I'm going to give a warning, not a spoiler. It is only 4 episodes, so know that going in, because I was upset. Episode 4 ended. I'm ready to go into episode 5, and Hulu started playing fucking Pretty Little Liars. I was like, what the fuck?
You don't check ahead of time?
I didn't check.
I always check because I feel like
you don't want to get
I don't want to get
disappointed.
upset. I always want to make sure that it's 8, or in the case of $1 Million Hampton's House, I want to make sure there's less.
Yeah,
that show was not good.
Okay, so don't watch that on Netflix. Yeah, I was like, when did they film this shit? So they started filming it end of June, I think. They banged this shit out.
What city?
I'm not sure where they filmed it, but it looks like it's supposed to take place in LA. And it just is like an ensemble cast following different people in different situations. Like one girl is quarantined with her quote unquote gay best friend. I say that in quotes because he decides he might want to date women and she's in love with him, but then she meets the neighbor.
Wait, this is scripted.
It's scripted.
And there's only 4 episodes?
There's only 4 episodes. So it's it's like watching a 2-hour movie. It's really good. There's like an older couple and they're like separated, but I don't want to give any spoilers. The one part I love is that this girl, she's this beautiful model. She has this hot neighbor. Mm-hmm. And he's showering outdoors. So obviously I'm automatically drawn in. He's so hot. He's so your vibe. And she basically does kind of thirst trap him with a book.
What's the book?
I forget what her book was, but then he gives her a book back to read. Guess what it is?
Sapiens?
Normal People. They hit the pandemic stuff hard.
Damn.
Also Hulu, Normal People.
Of course, they're trying to promote other Hulu shows.
They really touch on some of the race stuff. Mm-hmm. When Ahmaud Arbery was killed, they talk about that in the show.
How do they make this thing?
They started filming end of June. It's really good and I do recommend it.
Okay. I want to also give a rack. It's another podcast rack, which of course, listen to ours twice before you segue over. But I've been listening to Nice White Parents. Mm-hmm. It is from the New York Times. It's a 5-part series and it talks about segregation and integration, so-called integration in the public schools in America. And just this idea of we thought segregation ended and we thought there's all this integration and it wasn't. And it really just opens up your eyes. And I read the reviews because I was like, what are people going to think about this? You see a title like Nice White Parents and true to form, all these people went ballistic and were like, it's not just white parents' fault. And you have to look at all these other things. And people really bombed the reviews. And
do you think before they listened?
I think a lot of people, yes, were triggered by the title.
Okay.
And the implication that just white people are ruining the system. And some people were like, you need to look at the full picture. And it's well, it's a social study. And I think it's no social studies are perfect. And I think there's a million different pieces of this that could be looked at. But I thought it was really well done. It was really interesting. And at the very least, it opened my eyes to, when we think segregation ends, there's so many decades of trying to build in good teachers, good facilities, good books for these kids, get the white kids to go to these schools, things like that. I thought it was really interesting and made me really think about my time in high school. I don't know why it would ever come up on the show, but I went to a public high school.
Yes, go off. Big public high school.
For public high
big
school
public
girls.
school proponent.
About 1/3 of my school was Black. So I grew up thinking I went to a school that was integrated, but I've always sort of felt like, why do I feel like I never saw the Black kids in my school? I never did. I was never in the classes with them. I had lunch periods with them, but that was it. And I always thought, like, why wasn't I around them? And I always thought it never occurred to me that my school like wasn't integrated. So it just made me really think about my high school experience and how I went to school with 1/3 of the school being Black, but they've still found a way in my high school to sort of segregate the Black kids into certain classes and segregate the white kids into certain classes. And if nothing else, it just made me like reevaluate the way that even I grew up and went to high school and what it was like for me versus what it was like for the Black kids and the facilities that they had access to and the certain teachers. And I know that we talked about race on this show quite a bit, and we promised you we would keep talking about it and keep learning and keep growing. So I thought that this podcast in particular was a great tool for me to at least evaluate the way that I was educated and raised.
Yeah. You told me this and I want to listen to it as well. And I don't know. I don't feel like my school was like that, but I don't know. I was in honors classes, so I was literally with the same kids from 5th grade on, which were more primarily white kids. And it's like, I want to like think on this and really try to think back. You know what I mean? And like, was that purposeful? I don't know. So like you got me thinking about it too. Cause I grew up with like, it was very mixed and I just never understood racism till college. And I mentioned that before in this podcast. So I didn't feel like I ever got even a taste of it. My favorite teacher was Black in elementary school, but then I was thinking, did I have more Black teachers after that? That's like, I want to think on it a little bit more and I want to listen to the podcast for sure. And of course it's by the New York Times. They fucking crush it. Still obviously listen to the Daily every day.
You remind me constantly to listen to the Daily. Yes, I like the idea that you just sort of like marinate it and think about it. And one thing, I think it's the 3rd episode, if it's not, it's the 4th, where they talk about the gifted programs in schools. And they assert that this is just sort of a way to like continually segregate kids. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know, but it at least made me think about it a little more. And I was always just in classes with the white Jewish kids.
I mean, it makes you examine everything. You just examine like income and like poverty level and then systemic racism with that and where kids lived. And it wasn't that anybody that was a minority had a lower IQ or wasn't as smart, but maybe they just hadn't had the resources up until that point to like excel as much as the white kids. I mean, it's so much.
If anything, it just made me sort of think about my life and my upbringing in the school system. And I think it's like a really important lesson. And you guys can form your own opinions about it.
Yeah, take a listen. Before we bring Jared and Jordana on, we have an email that came through that we really wanted to reach you guys though and chat about it before we bring them in for their hot takes.
Yes. So we put out a call to you guys. We asked you to send us emails about your dating life, questions you had that Jared and Jordana and us could just all wrap together on. And we got this email that Ashley and I just wanted to talk to you guys about ahead of time before we bring them on. I was so proud of this. This is one of my dream emails. I've always dreamt about getting an email like this from one of you guys. So we said, please send us your 911 dating 911.
Emails. Yeah.
And this girl sent us an email. I sent it to Ashley. I was like, this is one of my favorite emails. Okay. She says, hi guys, just spent 30 minutes typing out and editing an email regarding this topic. Then after reading my own email, I realized I just got to dump this motherfucker. I answered my own question, but wanted to thank you ladies for creating the best podcast and community ever. Anyway, I'm off to ruin this guy's day and ego. Don't worry, it's warranted. Cheers.
I love it.
I love her. I love this email.
And that is how you do it. Write out an email like you're writing it to us and then reread it and still feel like if the answer is not that this relationship is over. Sometimes it's not. We got so many emails that were really in like a gray area that people really needed advice and help, and we're going to get into them. But like, this is such a way of like putting it into writing because you have so much going on in your head when you're trying to assess a relationship and your emotions and everything. Just to put it on paper, like you're asking for advice and then reading it back and being like, what the fuck am I doing?
I think it is a great exercise. You and I have talked about doing this all the time. I like make notes in my phone all the time as I'm going to bed. I usually like get high and make notes because I'm like super critical of myself. And I think I'm also thinking about things a little more critically, but I've always thought when we get these emails from you guys, because you send us these emails and they're so well written and they're so well thought out and they're so introspective. And I always think, so many times we get these emails asking for advice. If you just said this thing to your partner, you could have a great conversation with them. Mm-hmm. Of course, some things do warrant actually emailing a therapist or talking about to somebody. But some of these emails, I just think, direct this at your partner. You'll have an amazing conversation. You did this so eloquently to us because you felt like you were in a space that was non-judgmental, which you always are with us. But just take that and retarget it towards your partner.
Yeah, exactly.
Or towards yourself.
Yeah, you have the outline in front of you. You just wrote it. Mm-hmm. So take it to your partner or just dump them like this girl, Olivia.
I'm off to ruin his day.
Thank you, Olivia.
He deserves it.
He needs to apologize to her. Oh my gosh.
I write a lot and I find it really therapeutic and it really helps me. And especially when I'm like super mad, and whether that's in anybody, a family member, a friend, a relationship, I put it on paper and then I realize I'm not as mad as I think I am, or I'm not thinking as clearly as I would like to be. And I find it a very, very therapeutic exercise.
Yes, because conversely, you could read that back and be like, oh, I'm crazy.
That is what I think all the time.
If you write out the shit that's been going on and then you're like, oh, damn. Like, then it makes you reflect. Either way, it just can never hurt.
Oh, damn, she's nuts.
Yeah.
I went through this, remember last year, this crazy roller coaster that guy and I like broke up, and he sent me an email a month later to my very nice, very well thought out. He sent me this like 6-page bunch of bullshit. I wrote out 3 emails and there was a different Rayna in each of those emails. There was like understanding Rayna. There was blind rage Rayna.
Yeah.
And then there was, I literally don't give a fuck. I'm sending you a 1-sentence, have a nice life email. And all 3 of those Raynas appeared in one day.
Yeah.
You really cycle through a lot of this shit.
Life comes at you fast.
It came really fast.
Like yesterday I was not okay. You witnessed it. Today I'm on fire. Last night I was like, I'm buying a house and I'm writing a pilot.
It was crazy.
I had to turn it around. But like your mental state and how you're feeling can shift so quickly. I had a really bad day yesterday, which I felt like I was in like a dark place. I was telling you, I was like, I'm really sorry. I feel unproductive. I feel lost. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, I think we've all had those days since March. And it happens to the best of us. But then I just was like, okay, I gotta like clear my head, get my shit together, be productive, do something. And I just say that to say like, you do have blind rage and it can turn to rational in an hour.
Yeah. Acceptance, understanding.
Yeah.
I could get more mad. I talk to friends.
I like blind rage now.
That's me. That's my vibe.
That's alter ego.
But we do have more dating scenarios that we are going to break down with our guests for today. So we are going to introduce them to you right now. Without further ado, for an awesome episode, we have Jared Freid. He is a hilarious New York City comedian. He is the host of the J Train podcast. He is the Charcuterie Chat board lord and Bachelor Nation recapper. We also have Jordana Abraham. She is the co-founder of Betches Media, and she recently became fiancéed. Together, they are the hosts of the You Up podcast. Welcome to Girls Gotta Eat, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to put that, it's the first time I've been introduced that way. I'm going to put it on my resume. Fiance. I have to.
I loved every bit of that intro. You get to be fiancéed and I get to be board lord. I want both of those titles to stick with us forever and ever.
When we were chatting and Rayna goes, wait, I'm forgetting, what's the name of Jared's thing? And I go, Charcuterie Chat. And she just died laughing. Like just to get to say it out loud was such a privilege earlier today.
I said to Ashley, I was like, is Jordana going to be insulted that I list all the stuff that Jared does? And then I'm like, and Jordana is engaged.
I mean, I feel like I maybe should be, but I'm not at all.
No, you shouldn't. Yeah.
I'm not at all.
Well, especially you guys know this, like having a podcast where you talk about dating and stuff. Like when Jordana got engaged, it was like the scene at the end of like Star Wars where they're all dancing and we're all like everyone felt involved because, the listeners and everyone was a part of it and knew, and especially with a podcast, like you guys know, like it's the most intimate way to listen to someone. You're inside people's heads, literally. So I was sitting there being like tear down my cheek, like Jordana's engaged, like we did it, like as a group holding hands.
That's what my therapist and I said together. I like told him, I like showed him. He's like, we did it.
He's like, you graduated from the show. You guys released like an emergency episode about this?
It's literally sprinted to Zoom to talk about it.
Jared, I'm just upset you weren't involved. Like, I feel like you should have been in a bush filming. Like, I just feel like people expect you guys to be together at all.
To live stream it and like just give like kind of like making fun of it the whole time. I wish that happened.
Yeah.
Jared live tweets your engagement.
That's how you get on one knee. You look like an idiot.
Yeah, I'm shirtless, screaming. Yeah, just my normal thing.
Live reacting to this like it's The Bachelor.
Yeah, like live screaming.
So I have to tell people 2 fun facts about you guys. So Jared, we've only ever had 2 guests on the show 3 times. You are one of them. So this is your 3rd time on our show. You were one of our first guests ever.
I feel honored. And this is our 4th tape because the first one we didn't tape. We just talked to each other.
It was bad.
Remember?
Look, we fired those people. It wasn't our fault.
This isn't a blame game. This is I remember.
But it is our
it's
fault.
so funny because I was like, man, I really felt like I nailed that. And then you guys go, okay, we didn't tape any of that. We just literally sat in a room talking. And I was like, okay. And then I'm like, what were the fun things
That was
I
the
said?
warm-up.
And then it's like this weird thing because we did a great episode together, but I was like, man, I want to make sure I get in like these 3 things that I thought were good points, and like now we're like doing an act.
But we felt like it was better the second time because we didn't really know how to like handle you the first time. Like you come in really, you came in so hot and we didn't know like your energy. And so when you came back, we were like more equipped to handle you.
You brought your shields and your swords and you're like, I know how to fend the beast.
Fend off the board, Lord.
And we reference it all the time. Like someone emailed us the other day and she was like, my boyfriend broke up with me right before he knew I had to go into a meeting. And we think about you all the time. I don't know if you remember this, but like you saying that like women will always over dramatize a breakup of like when it happened in their life. Like it was like, he knew I had a project due in 3 days.
It was my half birthday. Can you believe it? And all the women were like, I can't believe it. He knew it was your half birthday. And you're like, oh, the dumper is never the winner in any of those situations. So
can you believe he broke up with me during Virgo season?
Virgo season. He knows how much I love Virgo season. It's like, he knows how much I
think what you said, he knows I have lunch with my aunt this week.
Yeah.
Jared always likes to support the detestable.
Yes.
Like how do you want to make the support group for the ones who do the dumping, who you think are the real victims?
Sure.
I had to break up with you.
Yeah.
It's way harder than getting broken up with.
No one ever thinks of the dumper. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Jared's a dumper apologist.
I'm a dumper apologist.
He is. He's like, I had to, for any of the divorce guys, he's like, I had to, they had to get down to the courthouse, file the petition. That takes work.
Download Tinder.
I was thinking about Selling Sunset. I was thinking, do you guys watch Selling Sunset?
Girl, of course.
We talked about it today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, and on the show when she's like blindsided and he's like, he went down and filed, I was just thinking about how you would like defend him.
Yeah.
He didn't tell her she was getting divorced until like 45 minutes before he filed or something.
I'm going to not feel bad for the women closing $1 billion deals in the back of Rolls Royces for 2 seconds. Like, well,
it's debatable if any of them are actually real estate agents.
It is one of those, that show is such a fun watch, but there is a moment where you're like, wait, they're all million zillionaires. Like I forget that. Like, and then they're in the nicest car ever. But we could go on, I'm sure.
Well, the other fact I wanted to tell you guys, the fun fact was, we recorded with you guys the last time exactly 2 years ago in September of 2018 was the last time we had you on the show, and we came on your show.
Wow,
it's so funny.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
has it been 2 years? That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is insane.
It feels like yesterday.
It really does. Well, we were talking about this. Jordana and I were talking about this. Like the weird thing about 2020 is that it's the longest year and the fastest year at the same time. I don't know how this happened, but January was yesterday and 6 years ago at the same time for me.
At the same time. It's so accurate. It's so funny, Jared, because where you live looks really similar to my building. And I DM'd you and was like, did you move into my building? And you were like, no. And I like have this feeling that like you're just trying to avoid me. And one day I'm going to see you and you're going to be like, no, I was Lower East, I swear. And I'm just going to like see you at the gym.
We're in the elevator together. Oh, I guess you were right. Sorry. Want to come over? Want to hang on the roof? Yeah.
Our listeners sent us all these emails, and we tried to get a whole big mix of different topics. We're going to pitch you guys the email. We want your advice. We want you to tell people what to do, what you think.
I feel like you guys are like, you up is like, I have an issue I need help with immediately. Like you guys are kind of like the emergency response team. And so,
that's usually,
you know.
Yeah, we get those emails and then we'll respond like 2 months later when their problem is like, we cannot help at all. It's like we pre-record, I'm sure you guys do this too. We pre-record a lot. Yeah. So like by the time anyone hears our advice, it's definitely too late, but hopefully.
They already burned the relationship to the ground.
We dug up emails from 2018 just to fuck with people who needed immediate response.
Listen, I'm at his front door. I need to know, should I knock or not? 3 years later.
We get those DMs.
Yeah.
We get that. Also, we didn't get as many emails as I thought I would because Ashley posted on our Instagram story that she wanted emails, but she wrote, what did you write? Brevity
I said, because people will send us 3-page emails. And so I just wrote brevity is key. And Rayna was like, how many people do you think Googled brevity?
I mean,
and I was like,
literally doing that right now as we speak. But I say this all the time with the emails, like the female emails, and our audiences are very similar. It's very, female heavy, and they are so in depth and like they make them so much more interesting. But there are some that they're like, it was a Tuesday in the fall. The wind hit my face. I don't know. The leaves came down. And you're like, okay, enough about the leaves. Let's talk about like pee in the vig.
They're like, buckle up because this is going to be a long one. It's like going on a date and being like, just to let you know, I'm going to be a total lunatic. Yeah. So get ready.
But the thing is, like, you have to take the good with the bad because my podcast used to be all male listeners and their emails were just the same. Like it was like so I met this chick and I want to bang. And you're like, okay, there's got to be more to this dating thing than this. Like,
right, I need details.
So it's hard to find the happy medium, but I understand it's tough.
It is, but we do get some incredible emails and we're so honored that our lovely listeners want to share this stuff with us. We know you guys feel the same way. So let's get into it. Just a FYI about this first one. We chose a wide array, but this one's just a lot of them felt like this. So we at least wanted to have one in here to hear what you guys say and do the advice thing. But just to keep that in mind, so many, probably 50 were just like this one.
Cool.
Okay. He treats me like his wife, but panics when I try to put rules on our situationship. I, 28, have been, quote unquote, dating the man in question, 34, since September of 2019. We spend lots of time together, go on weekend trips, and the sex is ridiculous, but he also consults me on career moves, financial decisions, asks me to help redecorate his condo, and relies on my opinion for almost every big decision in his life. The only problem, we aren't together. Not sure if we're even dating. Anytime I bring up the conversation, like when I suggest we only sleep with each other due to COVID concerns, he freaks out and thinks I'm trying to lock him down. He acts like we're together, but recoils at the hint of commitment. He's starting to open up more, but it also feels like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I've told him I want more, but he only gives me a little at a time and on his own terms. Should I be patient and see where this goes? Or is he using me? Is this a lost cause? Does he want me as a girlfriend or his mom? I know the answer is that I need to have higher standards, but why do men think that this is okay?
Yeah, this is very tough. Jordana, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is just a case of someone taking whatever is given to them because like she clearly wants something out of this. She like has vocalized it and the person is just not giving her what she wants. And avoiding a conversation is another way of saying no. It's just not saying no without having the respect to say no to someone's face. So if I were her, I would say, you keep avoiding this conversation. This is what I want. It doesn't seem like you're interested in doing that. So like, I'm going to move on. Obviously much easier said than done, as we've said before.
Yeah, this is like easier said than done. But also I the one thing, when I hear her email, it's a lot of like absolving herself of any responsibility. Like I like, just read that last sentence if you don't mind once again. Why?
I know that the answer is that I need to have higher standards, but why do men think that this is okay?
That's the thing. Why do men think this is okay? And it's like she she's like, she's put everything in generalized terms. So she doesn't want to feel bad. So like I can only speak to her as the emailer, you know, like a lot of times it's like, why do men do this? I can tell you what he's doing. He gets to fuck you without responsibility. That's the key to this whole thing. He gets you as a girlfriend on his terms. He gets to have you at his convenience. He doesn't want to be inconvenienced by you, so that's why he runs away at inconvenience. So it's interesting though, because she writes a lot of things where it's like, I know that it's all in him terms. What about you? You have to be willing to like get up from the negotiation table. She's sitting there negotiating with him, and then every time he gives his terms, she goes, I'll give up and I'll agree, and then complaining to other people that she lost on the negotiation. At a certain point, it's your fucking fault. Like, and I don't mean to come so hard on her, because I agree. He's an asshole. I'm not saying what he's doing is using you, but like, even when she says, is he using me? Well, he doesn't see it as destructive as you. He is dating you based on the contract negotiation terms that he has created, and he's not willing to move from his side. You have to be willing to get up from the table. And I think like, I now she's using time on her side. She's like, it's been since 2019. I see what she's doing.
Coming up on a year.
Exactly, but he doesn't see it that way. She is this girl I hook up with. There's no like, it's been almost a year. Like that, Jordana and I, we talked about that with a guy that like doesn't go away. Like, well, it's been the 10-year saga. And it's like, no guy thinks of it in those terms.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been in that 10-year saga, and it's kind of like, it's up. No one's ever going to be like, if someone's not being straightforward with you in the beginning, they're never going to really like tell it to you straight. It's up to you to kind of like move or see past the bullshit and like move on, which is really difficult, obviously. But it's kind of like something you have to take into your own hands, because no one's going to like cut the cord, like you said.
And here's what he's doing. He's not, and to make this, I don't know if this helps her, but it would help me, is like, he's not turning you down as much as he's turning down responsibility. You know, like this whole like, like she wants to know who he's fucking during a pandemic. He's probably fucking nobody. You know, like he's probably not, but he doesn't want to answer to who else he might be trying to fuck.
Yeah, I feel for her, and I can see how these situations really spin out of control, but I also feel like this is sort of tough love time. And we did an episode a while ago called How Can I Make Him Commit? And we talked about this before, and it's like, he's just taking whatever you're giving until you're not willing to give it anymore. You keep giving it to him. You give him all these things. You fuck him. You give him attention. You give
help
him
decorate his apartment.
Yeah. I would literally I would take that deal.
Absolutely. And she thinks that's going to change. Well, that's the other thing. Like, how to make him commit is kind of like, I don't mean to disagree with the perspective, but like it could be changed to like, well, what's your standard? You got to own the standard. She does a lot of things in her email where she's like, well, he thinks I want a relationship. You want a relationship. Like let's take a moment to look in the mirror and go, yeah, I want a relationship with this guy. Like, and she's doing this to not get hurt. She's she's doing death by 1,000 paper cuts. That fucking sucks. And instead of going, hey, I want this, and it's not, I want the label. It's like, she wants like 3 things. She wants commitment, an act of commitment, and like a sleepover that doesn't have him running out the door and saying, well, I'll call you when I call you. Like, if she broke it down to like the actual
thing. She wants the security.
Yeah, she wants a little security, but also through action. You know, like, and for him, like, if I were him, I'd be like, yeah, like, and the reality is going to be, I don't, like, for him, I've been in that situation where I'm like, you're a great person. I like you so much. You offer me a lot, but I can't get to that next level with you. And that's hard.
Yeah. And the episode titled How Can I Make Him Commit was basically like, you can't make anybody do anything. So the only answer was like, you say what you want and you're gonna have to walk away. Perhaps it could work out in your favor, but you can't just keep giving and giving and giving and decorating his apartment and helping him with his career and like expecting one day he's gonna be like, she's great. Like, it's time to settle down.
Well, you only lose weight when the pants don't fit. That's the reality. Like, no one's like, I gotta lose weight because of no reason. You try to lose weight when you see yourself in a picture looking fat, when you don't fit in your pants, when your shirts are too tight, when you're uncomfortable. She needs to own what she wants and make him feel uncomfortable. He might not feel uncomfortable. That's the scariest part. is he might go, let me go to the next one in Snapchat that I've been talking to. I feel for her. I'm just saying, like, I understand. We were talking, like, a lot of times I'm put in the position of defending the undefensible, and I'm not trying to defend. Like, his actions are human in that they're survival of the penis. Like, it is like, how do I make sure this penis keeps working while not having to do work to make it keep working? You know what I mean? How do I do as little work as possible for as much money as possible? It's the same kind of for what he's doing.
Right. Okay. Well, I think she knows what she needs to do. Okay. The second one. I've been dating my boyfriend for almost 2 years. Early on in our relationship, we began to play deal breakers. If you don't know the premise of the game, you say something that could potentially break the relationship. For me, long fingernails on guys. Anyways, I once asked if your significant other kissing their parents on the mouth was a deal breaker. And my boyfriend said, no, my mom does that with me. I'm not going to get into the shame I felt for dating someone that does this. But anyway, fast forward to 6 months to a year later, and I meet his mom. I've long forgotten this conversation when she kisses me goodbye after meeting me for the first time on the lips.
I love it.
She's never, I guess maybe she talked to the boyfriend because she says she's never done this with any of his other exes. So on one hand, I'm flattered, but on the other hand,
she's in.
But on the other hand, I can't be the one to tell her to stop. My boyfriend says he doesn't know how to tell her. She wouldn't understand that it's weird. So I ask, what do you think? Help. And then she gives us a PS. We're going to have to touch base and do a where are they now? But she says, I'm seeing her this weekend, so I'll know if the pandemic has an impact on this. But I bet
oh my God.
But I bet she still kisses me on the lips. So let's take the pandemic out of it and just discuss without that part of it. What do you guys think?
I think the worst thing in that email is that she says that the boyfriend said that he doesn't know how to, like, tell the mom to stop, because that's like the first of several offenses that he's going to say that line to, and that's like not an acceptable line. If, like, your parents are weird, it's totally fine to have weird parents. My parents are like lunatics. They're both like totally crazy, but you can date someone with weird parents, but they have to know that it's weird, and they have to, like, step in and protect you in a way from their weirdness, you know?
It's not hard to say, Mom, can you not kiss Jordana on the mouth? Like, she's just kind of, she's got, now with COVID, I feel like you have a real excuse to say, please don't kiss my partner on the mouth, Mom.
Right.
But I don't know.
Where does it end?
Where does it end, though? It's like if you want some, it becomes like the battle of you versus the mother-in-law. Like, you've got to sort of, like, establish some sort of, like, thing where the boyfriend sticks up for you.
Ashley would be out.
I've got to know. I have not touched. I've loved not touching people. The pandemic has been so amazing for me. It's an excuse not to hug my family. Even I'm just like, don't touch me. I just feel like they do have, like, the perfect excuse now. Like, if her mom goes in for a kiss during COVID, I
love this. I love this email so much. I can't tell you how much I love, because I love that Jordana said a couple of things. Where does this end is so funny. As if, like, they'd be over Thanksgiving and she'd be like, come to mama. And then she'd start rubbing her tit while making out with her.
Right. She's not fingering you.
Like,
She's just,
you can't. And then the boyfriend's there just being like,
yeah, Mom.
Yeah, Jordana.
Mom likes,
that's just Mom.
Yeah, Mom.
probably at the kiss.
Mom likes a hard nipple. She just wants everyone to feel good on Thanksgiving. I also love, Jordana, you nailed it. Like, she wrote this in the email. It is so funny when, male or female, when you're into somebody, when you look for clues to know if you're in or out. And it's like her being at brunch. Well, things with Jason are good. His mom French kisses me, so that's a sign. We must be, like, okay. Like, it's so.
She said, I'm the chosen one,
like,
basically.
so I know that we're not nothing, but we're not engaged, but I am French kiss worthy. His mom fucks me with a dildo every single holiday. So I'm in. Like, so things are, I don't know. So I love that. Like, perspective. I do think, though, like, first of all, this feels very Italian family-ish. Like, I actually like these are things that, like, I understand, like, hey, Mom, can you stop? But, like, this is one of those things that I feel like you're involving yourself with a family. It's like, what's wrong with her? She doesn't say goodbye? Like, that was what it becomes. Like, it's a little harder. It's a little harder for him than maybe we want to give him. Because I understand the dynamic of, like, like, especially right now with like politics being as so heated as they are, it's like, and you want to say to your like a dad or mom, like, hey, like, and then they come with their like fucking like, you know, like their American flag and their rifle, and you're like, can you like just tone it down? They're like, what? She doesn't like us as a family? And you're like, I just want to introduce you to a girl I like, and I hope to one day love and hope to one day marry. You know what I mean? So I have a little empathy where like these are hard conversations to have, but like I wouldn't blame it on her. I think that's the disservice to her. I think like he has to, you know, I hate this phrase, man up a little bit and just be like, Mom, yeah, you know, like, Mom, I can't watch you kiss my girlfriend. Like, put it on him. Like, but I think I think you have to be careful of it. I just know as a Jewish son, I know that like the conversation about like, hey, can you stop like kissing my girlfriend? She doesn't like it. And the first response wouldn't be, oh, I'm sorry. It would be, what doesn't she like? You know, like, doesn't she say goodbye in her family?
She thinks she's too good to kiss me on the lips?
Yeah. And it's like, it becomes more than just the kid. So I would say to him, she needs to tell the boyfriend, like, hey, take the bullet here. Take the loss and like just say it makes you uncomfortable, because I'm trying, like, for her when she says like I'm in, I got the kiss, like that's a part of it. You know, like her saying that, like it does mean something to get the love and affection from your like significant other's family and for them to like you. So you don't want to put a wrench in it by being like, hey, tell Mom to get the fuck away when I come in. You know, like like maybe I would say to him, which is hard for him because I know that if I was told like, hey, tell your mom, you know, stop hugging me, I'd be like, okay, give me like 3 years and like I'd be like, let me prepare myself. Like it would be hard for me.
Hopefully you'll break up before you have to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hear my Jewish mom being like, what do you mean? Why is she making a thing out of this? Why does she have to make this disgusting?
Totally. Yeah. Why does she have to make this disgusing? Is it like
why is she sexualizing my affection?
Yeah.
Yes.
Rayna just literally did lines from Jewish mother scripture. Like,
I have a Jewish mother.
Yeah,
I can hear her.
I felt my mom in that sentence.
But my theory maybe is that, see, it's odd that she's the only one that's ever gotten a mouth kiss.
I think he's lying.
So maybe he's in cahoots with the mom, and he's like, listen, we're going to come over. You kiss her on the mouth. So I don't have to break up with her. You act fucking weird until she leaves me.
Oh, my theory is that the mom does this to everybody. And when she complained to her boyfriend thought of something quick and he was like, you're the only one she's done this with. Like he like said it so she would feel special and he could, you know, smooth it over.
Either way, he's lying.
I'm 100% with Ashley because I've done that before. One time, I not with, you know, so my mom, you know, licked my girlfriend's ear. No, one time I had deodorant in my Dob kit in my toiletry bag, and it was female Dove deodorant. And I remember the girl I was seeing was like, oh my God, you and I have the same deodorant. And I could see her in her mind, like writing the rom-com in her head for like, she was writing the speech at our rehearsal dinner. And I wasn't going to say, no, it was all they had left at the CVS when I was on the road once. Like I couldn't say that. Right. And instead I was just like, yeah, that's crazy. Like I went with it, you know, like, so I kind of understand that perspective where it's like, oh, I'll make her feel special. And it kind of backfired on him.
I think that we agree with Ashley. Okay.
All right, guys. The third one, I think I might just have to stay mom on this one because I don't, you know.
I threw it in here because I could just hear Jared yelling about it.
Turn down your podcast, people.
Jared's about to talk about this one. Okay. I don't like dogs. I swear I have a heart. I'm just not an animal person at all. My boyfriend and I have brought up getting a place together, but he really wants a puppy and doesn't seem like he's going to budge. He says no dog might even be a deal breaker. I'm willing to make compromises, but I can't see the benefits of shedding vet bills, barking, and training a puppy in a new place. Is there a way for us to both be happy? Sincerely, the heartless girlfriend.
Wow.
I mean... I mean, like, you know, sometimes...
Is that worse than not wanting kids for some people?
For some people it is.
Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I guess I don't want kids, and I guess that's a fair comparison.
I would
Judge you
imagine.
pretty hard for it because they're like, how could you not
How
love
could
an
you not
animal?
like animals?
Listen, I have an all-white
People judge you
apartment.
more for not wanting dogs.
Yeah.
I
They do.
think.
They
Yeah.
judge you 100% judge you more. Listen, my apartment is too nice to have an animal in it. I sort of understand. I don't want the smell. I don't want the shedding.
Sure.
But if my man wanted a pet, I'd be like, I guess we're getting a pet. All right, what do you guys think?
I have a lot. I mean, I have a lot of deep-rooted opinions, but Jordana, do you have any? What do you think?
I kind of think like, unlike a child, I think a dog can be a one-person thing rather than a two-person thing.
Mm.
So I do think if he wants a dog and he's willing to take care of it actually and entirely all on his own, and you're just kind of like there and you don't have any responsibility for the dog, like fine. I don't really think that works a ton when you have a kid. So that would be like the difference, I would say. So I wouldn't stop someone from doing something they wanted to do as long as it just like affected me extremely minimally.
Yeah.
Personally.
And you can do a dog that doesn't shed. I mean, you can say like, fine, you get your dog, but here's some boundaries I have for my home.
Totally.
Right.
There were things on her list that are like doable with a dog. Like her list wasn't crazy. And Jordana, I'm with you. Here's the problem. And this could be related to bigger issues. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but I blame this problem on dog people because it's either you fucking hugging a dog at every corner to prove how much you love dogs, or you're a dog murderer. There's no in between of like, I'm like I've told people, I'm like, yeah, I like dogs. And they go, oh, you hate dogs. Like that's a response. That's a crazy response. So it sounds like she thinks this has to be, she has to like be so excited. She has to, because if she's not, there's this big brother out there, these dog people that are like, why aren't you more excited about your dog child? And it's like, no, it can be midway. Like my girlfriend wants a dog. So Jess and I moved in together mid-pandemic, and she's like, I want a dog. And I sound like this person. And I said to Jess, I go, okay, I'll split the cost 50-50, but I will do 10% of the work. Like I will not, and like, I'm just warning you, as long as you set it up with what a realistic expectation. Yeah, this is expectation versus reality. So, but this is like a good moment for compromise where it's like, hey, I'm willing to do these things. I'm willing to do a dog and it's important to you. So, but you have to understand what's important to me, right?
I know a couple and they're married and she wanted a dog so badly and he didn't care, but it was like this, but they like really laid it out before they got the dog. As in, this is your dog, should anything happen between us, you obviously get the dog, but like, this is your dog. And to the point where, yeah, he walked it every once in a while and he liked it. He didn't fucking kick it around.
Sure.
Like one time she was out of town and he boarded the dog because he was, I went over there and I was like, where is the dog? And he was like at the border. I mean, my wife's not here. Like he was like, that's her dog. And we settled this beforehand. The dog likes being at the boarding place. I'm too busy. I'm working. I'm running a company. I don't have time to walk this fucking dog that's not mine. She's out of town. The dog's at the border. Like, and she was fine with it because she kind of knew what she signed up for. But the girl, the emailer, sounds anti-dog.
But don't you appreciate that level of honesty of your friend where he's like, yeah, it goes to the border. Like I like appreciate that as like a significant other. It's like, he never set you up for like this wild expectation of like, but the one thing with her, like she sounds anti-dog, but also I think there's more of a chance that you like your dog than, like dogs in
like
general.
kids?
It's like kids. Yeah. I like my kids. I don't like your fucking dirty, gross kids. So like, I
think that's a good point.
Like, I think there's more of a chance of, there's less of a chance of after a year, she goes, I fucking can't do this. And there's more of a chance of her going, hey, I like my dog. I like the way we trained it. I've actually come closer to him than I thought I would. I think it could get better for her,
Or it could get worse and they run into a situation that we've also got emails about where the guy is just like obsessed with the dog and the dog sleeps in the bed and the dog has to be between them at all times. And now they're not having sex because the dog's always there. Like guys get real fucking weird with their dogs.
Sure. I mean,
like, more so than
but
women.
that's ignoring the problems in the relationship via the dog.
True,
like sometimes the dog, like let's have a kid to save the marriage. This happens with dogs too,
Well, Jared, do you think there's anything to one thing that I did that struck me as kind of weird in the email was that he was like, it might be a deal breaker if you're not interested in getting a dog. I was kind of like, is he just saying that because he like kind of wants her to break up with him?
I mean,
kind of wants this. That's
call.
that's a strong statement. Like if you were not interested in this.
Well, maybe he's letting the dog be representative of other things. Like you don't want to be nurturing, you don't want to care for something. Like, and maybe she should let him know that it's not representative of other things. I still want to nurture you. I want to have kids because I'm a little bit like her. I don't necessarily want an animal in my space. It's just not for me. I love the animal in Ashley's space, and then I get to go home.
I agree with that.
But I would be upset if somebody said it was a deal breaker for me.
But I love what you said, Jordana. Like, I think she should assess the relationship and in other ways. Like, are there cracks that I'm not seeing? And could this be? Because I think people do that. They pick a thing if they are, people that they're scared to break up. And so they kind of pick a thing and hope that that's the reason they can break up with you.
And guys do this a lot with relationships where they'll take the unavoidable truth to use it to, instead of breaking up, I've been hurt in the past, so I could never be in a relationship again. It's like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Guys will play up the small thing. Like, I remember we got an email once about a guy saw that like a dating app showed up on the girl's phone and he was like, oh my God, how could I be with such a wench? And it's like, and it's like you
just wanted an out.
He wanted an out. He knew that like men aren't given any emotional credibility. Women think men have zero emotional intelligence. So guys will use that to their advantage a lot of times where they're like, oh, I'll get super emotional about this because now I can make a big deal out of it. So like, I'm with Jordana. That could be an option. But like, I think, again, the negotiation table, like she could say to him, hey, these are like 6 things and I don't want the responsibility of it, but I'm open to like seeing how this goes. And then if he's like, well, you don't want it, I need a dog that sheds. And there you're like, okay, dude.
Yes.
Right?
That's it's like on Love is Blind, how like Jessica just kept throwing stuff at Mark. She was like, well, what if this?
Yeah.
Well, what if this?
Right.
So if she,
well, when I'm 50,
what if I
you'll
never
be
met you
40.
What if I never met you see your mom again?
Yeah. What if
you love your mom too much? He's like, I'll stop loving her.
She was like, well, what about this? I love that example. Okay. So if she just says, fine, let's get a dog that doesn't shed, it doesn't bark, we'll take the vocal cords out, we'll do this whole thing and it'll be perfect. And then he's like, well, no, I need a dog that barks and sheds. Then she'll know he just wants to break up with her.
Exactly. The Jessica example, it's so true because and I've been that person where I'm like I've dumped people before, and I dump is a harsh word because I don't not like any of these people, but I was like trying to get out of relationships before where I've been like, I just don't know what we're going to do. And they're like, we'll do anything. Love will conquer all. And you're like, no.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I will figure it out on my own.
Without you.
Yeah.
This is where this ends. Okay, we have one more for you guys. Her email says, I was looking for my homework folder. Okay, how old are these kids? Okay. I was looking
my homework folder. I was looking for my...
Is this legal?
Yeah. I was looking for my Banky and all
and then I found my Milky Pens. Yeah. And then all of a sudden...
The guys... Okay. I was looking for my homework folder in our computer yesterday and came across a folder of videos of me sucking my man's dick. Looked closer and videos of his exes are in the same folder too. This is so fucked up. Like, why am I part of this collection? At least give me my own folder. God damn it.
Let's hold on. I mean,
that's very funny.
It's hilarious. It's like, okay. The priority.
She's mad about the right things.
I don't know if she's,
Okay. It gets better. I freaked out. I called my best friend and she told me to go ahead and delete it all. I did. And now I'm panicking. Like, shit, should I have not deleted it? It's not mine to delete it. Is that a huge invasion of privacy? But also, if he were mad about me deleting it, then he doesn't live here. She used one of our tags, but she says, but also if he were mad about me deleting it, then he doesn't live here anymore, bitch. Anyway, do I bring it up to him? I'm so hurt.
How did she go from the least confident person to the most confident person? And
it's funny I can see that. It's funny where your head goes.
Took a turn.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Anyway, do I bring it up to him? I'm so hurt and I feel objectified and betrayed.
Jordana, what were you just saying? Because you're right. Like
I just feel like the mental spiral in this probably goes because like we're so in our heads that I can just imagine seeing this. And at first you're like outraged, and then you're like, I'm going to do my first instinct, which is to delete. And then you're like fighting with yourself internally of like, oh, is this an invasion of privacy? But also, who cares if it is? But then like you literally can have a debate with your own self in your mind and just not.
I think a very big part of this email is, did she know or not know that she was being videotaped?
That's the number one thing that I don't
very
think she...
confused. The verbiage was strange to me because she said there's all these videos of me blowing him. I'm assuming she knew.
I feel like you see somebody filming
that seems like the bigger issue. If that,
she didn't she feel objectified if she did? Like the word objectified, I would assume comes in because she didn't know.
Right, the word objectified.
Like,
I don't.
That's the only.
If she could have just been trying to use a big word from her homework.
Well, if she didn't know, then she should delete all those pictures, all those videos anyway, just because
hire a detective,
sue him,
and a lawyer. I mean, this is crazy.
Well, sue him. It sounds like she lives with him. She said he'll have to move.
You can still sue people.
You can sue anybody. I'm just saying, like, this is like there's two different versions of this email. There's he taped me without me knowing, which is like, run away, break up, delete all those. Like, this is not a good person. Like, I mean, this is bad. I'm saying, like, sound the alarms, and I don't mean to be over dramatic, but like I don't know I was being taped. And then you see other people that are taped, then you have to assume that they didn't know. And this is his thing. And this is as bad as like, having, porn, child porn. Like, I don't mean to like do it.
I don't think that that's the case, because I think this email would have had a different tone. This email is like kind of light and silly. I don't feel like she didn't know.
But I'm saying we have to address that first, just to be like
100%.
So if that's the case, report to the authorities. But secondly, our computer, like this guy had all this stuff on the shared computer. Like so much of it is like is weird.
Yeah, I Jordana, what do you think? I already had my parental
we're gonna answer
moment.
Sorry, we're gonna answer it as if she knew that all the pictures or videos that were taken of her were taken of her, that she consented to that. I think if it's on your shared computer, then that's not even like you did something that was violating anyone's privacy or I think you have every right to delete something off of a computer that is partially yours, that is not something that you want on that computer. And like, I mean, if it is so sentimental to him that he will get mad that you that's what he's going to get mad about, then I think that's a bigger issue.
You deleted my private stash. Like what?
Right.
Yeah.
That's on our computer.
Yeah.
Right. I think she can definitely delete it. If it's their computer. Totally. I think you could say like, I'm not comfortable owning anything with like all of this stuff on it, with all these women on it that are not me and that are with you. That's like kind of fucked up in its own self. And then I would bring it up to him and I'd say, I'd give him a chance to perhaps explain himself. Maybe.
I think she stumbled upon what he's into, like, generally. And I think with sex with your partner, if this was such a surprise that videotapes of women blowing him is like the thing that gets him going, then you have to wonder, like, how much is he opening up to you, and how much is your sex a shared experience, and how serious this relationship could be. Like, I think, like, sex is always a tough subject for couples, I think, because, again, with anybody in bed, like if you've been having sex for a little while and they've been together a while, it's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Missionary. Like, that's the conversation every time. It's like two people kind of hinting at, let's do something different. And then they end up at the same place because it's just hard to talk about those things sometimes. And I think this is one of those things where it's like, you fell into his thing. Things don't just like go away. Like, things don't, like, you either are involved in the thing or it's his thing, but like, I don't think it gets better from here without talking about it.
But let me ask you guys what you think. Do you think, just say it was photos and not video, do you think it's odd for somebody to just keep nude photos of exes? Is that something that you can be upset about if you find it on somebody's computer? Let's say it's not just weird videos.
Well, here's my question. Like, let's say you found old love letters from like someone in their apartment, or like old emails that they kept in a folder. Is that like that much? Is that different?
It's an interesting question if it was a love letter versus a nude photo. If I'm using it to jerk off versus
like emotionally remember, like emotionally masturbate, or remember like feel nostalgic about like and think back fondly on this relationship. Like I don't know. I think it could be comparable.
What did she think the blowjob videos were going? Like if she every time she sucks this guy's dick, he whips out the iPhone, he's filming her. Where did she think they were? Did she ever have any questions? Like if my boyfriend was always filming me sucking his dick, I would have some questions.
Sure.
What are you doing with this?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be surprised when I found the folder.
Are you making me an anniversary gift? You know, like
a scrapbook, an engagement video, like a slideshow.
Yeah, I think the fact that they were in a folder, that the ones with her are in the old, Jordana and I have gotten the email before where it was like, I found old pictures in the closet of him with his significant other. And remember, we talked about that, and you're like, I had the opinion where I'm like, guys are just not generally like, I know I'm this way, and the reason I answer for a lot of guys, I'm just saying I'm at least 10% away from the guy you're seeing. So like, let's say within 10% reason, I'm not like going through my old drawers and like after a breakup, like, and I'm throwing away that, and I'm throwing away this, and get rid of that poster. That like, I'm just like putting shit on top of shit. Like the next girlfriend stuff goes on the previous girlfriend stuff. So like, I think like, especially if you're not serious with someone or you haven't been serious with someone, these things are out there. So like, I as far as like, have
you ever jerked off to a picture of an ex?
Have I? I've is that enough of an answer? Is that enough of an answer?
Yeah, that works.
I mean,
I don't compare it to love letters. I think it's
well, I'm saying like, yeah, I think most guys have.
I think that's almost like the male version of like,
because I masturbate to my own like thoughts, and I think about exes. It doesn't mean I miss them or want to be with them.
Right.
But
I actually would probably be more comfortable if I walked in on you jerking off to your ex than if I walked on you like teared up to like an old letter. If you're jerking off, I'd be like, let's watch it together. You know, like I feel like love letter, I'd be like, what's going on here?
Sure.
And I think most people would prefer that almost in a way. It feels less like more objectified and less like about the person. Yeah. More just like this was a hot person that I can conjure.
Yeah.
Sexually.
It's one of those things where it's like, if you see, like you asked, do you have the right to be mad? You have the right to be mad about anything. Like, I think that's okay. I don't think like no one can tell you how to feel. So like, do you have the right to be mad? Yeah. Do you have the right to communicate it with a partner and come out from it the other side as an okay couple or a better couple? Of course you do. Like I think presenting to your partner, like, hey, I felt uncomfortable seeing these videos. I was so uncomfortable that I deleted them off the computer. Like even having them on a shared computer made me so mad that like I deleted them all. And if you're upset about that, I don't think it's like throwing away your baseball collectibles. Like I don't think it's like that. Right. But I don't think she should feel bad for deleting them because it's a shared computer and she is in the folder. So like, but I understand what Jordana said in the beginning. Like you go through this fight of like, you versus yourself.
Well, I think it's also a question of like, are we entitled to our own, like, to what extent are we entitled to like our own sexual, private, like, fantasies, even if you're in a relationship, and like to what extent can your partner like control that? Or like, should they be able to control that? And I don't think it's like a black and white answer. I think there is some levels of gray in terms of like, like you're entitled to your own private sex life, like people are entitled to masturbate.
Yeah, if I took
you can't control what someone masturbates to, really.
If every time I took a 15-minute shower,
you can if it was on your computer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess you can. That's what I'm saying. If it's on, that's why it's kind of weird that he wouldn't have it on like something private of his that he owned entirely. But
Yeah,
I think it's sort of a bigger question.
It's a tough line. If every time I took a 15-minute shower, my girlfriend was like, "What were you doing in there?" I'd be like, "Okay,
right.
can I just masturbate once in my own fucking home?"
Right.
You know, so like,
I just hope this guy's not going to be like, well, you have to make all those up now. Like, he's like, you deleted 10 blowjob videos and I'm going to need those back. You're going to have to.
how did it, all of a sudden he's the Girls Gone Wild producer. He's like, "Come on, lady. Come on, start puckering up. We got to make more videos. I need some for the collection." I hope this is an innocent email, even though it's not innocent. Like the fact, but I'm saying living in that reality, I think like people have a right to have their own fantasies, but they also, there's a way to do it with class and there's a way to do it without class. And I think like, you know, like going in the shower for 15 minutes, to me, that feels classy, you know, like, yeah, but like going in the bathroom, you know, for 15 minutes and having the sound on loud and hearing like, you know, like my girlfriend would be like, "What the fuck? I don't."
And I need my computer because my homework folder's on there.
Yeah, exactly. All of my Teletubby drawings are on there. Yeah, I don't know. I love that we keep.
What age are they that they have a homework folder but a shared computer?
Well, they're probably in grad school.
College?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny that we ask how old they are and then we reveal how old we are with all of our references for what we would have as a child. Like you said, Milky Pens.
Yeah.
Milky Pens. Yeah.
Right. Well, guys, thanks so much for answering these.
Yeah, this was a pleasure.
We'll see
so
you
much
in 2
fun.
years.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in 2022.
Well, you're gonna
maybe we'll be able to meet in person by then.
Absolutely.
We'll have like half of a vaccine by then.
We can only pray and hope. But it's a pleasure to come on, and also you're going to be on our show as well for our 2-year anniversary. So that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, tell people where they can find you guys, your Instagram handles, your podcasts, everything, because I'm sure they'll want to seek you out.
You Up Podcast is every Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesdays are normal episodes, about an hour. And then on Sundays, we do like a half hour, 40-minute, a little bit of a shorter, just more directed episode called the Sunday Special. But yeah, You Up Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. And I'm Jared Freid at Jared Freid on Instagram. And we have also an Instagram account for the podcast at You Up Pod.
And I'm Jordana Abraham, and I'm at Jordana Abraham on Instagram. And you can follow at Betches on Instagram also.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thanks,
yeah,
guys.
thanks for having me.
All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed, and you know where to find us, girlsgottaeatpodcast.com. Get those tickets to the virtual live show this Wednesday. If you are listening on Monday or Tuesday, our Instagram is Girls Gotta Eat Podcast, Ash Hess, Rayna.Greenberg, girls_gotta eat on Twitter, and youtube.com/girls gotta eat. And we'll see a lot of you guys this Wednesday.
Have a great week. Can't wait to see you Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Bye.